Hey, I'm Nick, and today I want to talk about the importance of actually getting things done 100% and not making it a regular thing to be slacking off or not finishing something, even if you're really close to having it done anyway. You see, habits are formed by consistency and by repeatedly doing it. Good or bad, habits can happen just randomly, even without you actively thinking that you want it to become a habit. If you always leave your laundry to be done at the end of the week, then it's just going to become a habit and you're not going to automatically think whether or not you need more clothes washed or simple things like that. And in a good way, it could be a habit to always have a balanced meal every time you eat. And it's strange to you to look down at your plate and see that you've got some kind of thing that you perceive as unhealthy. Or you may even be shocked when you come home and there's some kind of fast food that got ordered for you. But just because sometimes it's good that these habits happen automatically, it's always important to be aware on whether or not it's happening and to not just ride the wave in case something bad starts becoming a repetitive occurrence. If you just think to yourself that, oh yeah, I guess I've been doing it for a couple days in a row, but it's just a coincidence, and you go on with the rest of your day and it doesn't really interrupt you again until the next day hits and you do the bad habit again. Maybe you start eating worse again, and it goes on until you've done a full week of always doing the bad thing every day. And so the next week comes and it's so much easier to go into that bad habit that you've just made up in your head because you weren't aware that something is happening a lot and it might be becoming a habit. But in a more specific way, what I want to get into is how a lot of the time, most likely, you're not doing something 100%. If your goal is to do something like read 10 pages or do something big that's a challenge just for that day and you stop short of it. What that means is that the next time you set yourself a challenge, it's easier to stop short. And once that gets easier and easier, it becomes second nature and then becomes a habit. And that's one of the worst habits we can form, not doing something 100% and not going all the way. So, as a general rule, to not just be aware of our habits, it's to be aware of whether or not we're actually doing something 100%. Because I've mentioned heaps of times, it's easy to think that you're still being productive, but if you're always stopping short of your quota for the week or your quota for the day, and you want this to actually be a habit, if you never actually go through and do it 100%, then it's so much easier to not do that again, and then the next day, and then you've made a habit of it. We want to do the opposite. We want to make good work a habit, and to make it a habit, you need to actually do it. You can't make it a habit to always do something 100% by always doing it 90% and stopping short. That's not how it works. Your brain won't just automatically push you over the edge. And so the easiest way of being aware of these habits and making sure you're not falling into the bad ones and keeping track of the good ones is to just have a habit tracker. And more importantly, include the habit of getting work done and only ticking that habit if you've actually done it. It's easy to make the excuse of, I was still productive today and I basically got it done. And then you tick off that you're doing some good progress and you look back on it and you think, man, I'm being consistent with this habit. There's nothing that needs to be changing. But if you don't be true to yourself, then the metrics are going to stuff up. If you aren't true to yourself, that maybe I was slacking, maybe I haven't been putting in the right work, then the results that are going to come out are going to have a bias and they're not going to be true. If you slack off and then the results show that you're and the results show that something isn't right and you're not getting the progress or results that you thought, then if you aren't thinking about what the actual problem is, then you're going to keep on making marginal differences instead of solving the problem at the roots. But overall, if we're staying aware of what's going on, if we're staying aware at whether or not something is happening a lot and it's starting to become a habit, then we are safe to go. We just need to make sure we're making 100% effort and making that the habit. But that's it for today. However, if you're still interested in learning more about productivity tips or tricks, I've now started one-on-one coaching, which you can book a call for using the first link in the description below. But until then, see you later.